Hey, gorgeous. Welcome to Girl, You're a Goddess, the sacred space where we get real about stepping into your feminine power, owning your worth, and creating a life that feels deliciously aligned. I'm Hilary Burton, a women's empowerment coach, occupational therapist, and professional dominatrix. Think of me as your personal guide and hype woman on this journey to unleashing your deepest confidence, sensuality, and self-love. If you're ready to heal, rise, and start living like the goddess you are, you're in the right place. So pour your tea or pop your bubbly and let's dive in. Please welcome our gorgeous guest today. Laura Ora is a dynamic keynote speaker, personal growth coach, and host of the Gutsy podcast, a top 100 show helping people own their desires and take gutsy action. With over 17 years as a business owner and a decade of speaking experience, she's helped countless individuals and teams break through hesitation and move boldly through what they truly want. A true visionary, she'll be the first to nudge you forward and the last to celebrate you as you rise. It's time to stop fighting yourself and start embracing the life, career, and success you know you're meant for. Go ahead and welcome Laura to our show today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining. When you were talking about what you do with Gutsy, I was like, oh my gosh, this is absolutely aligned. This is everything we are talking about, empowering, being able to go out and go against the status quo and truly go for what you're meant for, right? Those wild dreams, those huge goals. So I absolutely love it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a word and a mantra, a mission, I guess now at this point that
Yes.
that just kind of it found me and it just became. So, it's what I teach, it's what I embody, it's how I live. So it is. Gutsy and I are one and the same at this point.
That's what I was gonna say. It's a way of life, right? It's a mission, it's a movement, it's a way of life. So tell us a little bit how you started. Tell us about your journey, how you got into this, how Gutsy found you.
Yeah, absolutely. So 17, now 18 years in business. My first business was in branding. So I ran a branding agency for 16 years. My very first job was designing ads for the phone book. So if we want to put a little date stamp on time.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah, super exciting. So thrilling. When I was working in there and, I knew that there was more. I just didn't know what that was yet. My husband and I decided to start a family. I was pregnant, 6.5 months pregnant. I had a total meltdown. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I just didn't feel valued or seen or appreciated. I felt creatively stifled. I'm like, there's got to be more than this. So I think my first big gutsy move was quitting that full-time job at 6.5 months pregnant to start an agency.
Wow.
Call it excitement, call it hormones, call it alignment, maybe a little bit of all of that. But I just knew that I had to go, and I knew that I could figure it out on my own. So I ran that agency for 16 years, but along the way, I started interviewing people. I started having conversations with business owners and leaders, just about all the real things that we were all thinking and feeling, but didn't have anybody else to talk to and vocalize it with. And it just humanized so much of the back end of business and leadership. So it'd be like, I thought I was the only one thinking and feeling this way, but turns out there's like a whole sea of people that feel exactly the same way.
It can be so isolating.
Oh my God, it is incredibly isolating.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
So, I've always been really good about just noticing when I'm feeling pulled or nudged towards something, right? When something lights me up versus when something drains me, and speaking and interviewing people just grabbed my entire being and was like, this is the way. And I eventually got to a fork in the road. I had started the podcast by this point, but I got to another fork in the road where the agency just wasn't doing it for me anymore. And I had to decide, am I gonna keep trying to do both things, speaking and running the agency, or am I gonna let something go? And that was another big gutsy move that I just made less than 2 years ago. I sold the agency and went all in on speaking and coaching. So, Gutsy has been part of my life. I think my entire existence. The actual word and phrase came from the original tagline from when I started to interview people, which was to spill your gutsy. So Yeah, so little seed planted there, but I've nurtured it and watered it, and it has grown into a big, beautiful
Yeah.
ball of energy that supports other women around the world.
Yeah. And I'm going to take a leap and say that you don't regret any of those moves.
Not for a second.
All of those moves were completely aligned with where you were meant to go in your journey, and making that decision was also part of your personal growth in that, being
Oh,
able to
absolutely.
leave those things behind. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you gotta
Yeah.
know you gotta know when it's time,
Mm-hmm.
but you
Yeah.
can't wait for it to be perfect to go. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one of the biggest things about making gutsy moves is
Mm-hmm.
knowing when are you bumping up against the edge when it's time to actually make a decision? When is it
Yeah.
time to move forward? When is it time to take action without having it all figured out, without having it
Mm-hmm.
perfectly curated, without having, a
Yeah.
15-step plan or having everything in line. If you wait for that
Yeah.
stuff, friend, you're going to be waiting for a really long time. So, I mean, that's a big part of being gutsy is, you
Yeah.
know, hearing that inner critic, hearing the noticing that kind of pushback that's happening inside of you, but then also
Mhm.
deciding, hey, I'm going to actually take a step forward, no matter
Yeah.
how big or small it is.
I think that's one of the most important things, right? Because we feel those nudges, but most of us are perfectionists, or we feel like we're not ready and we have to have it all planned out. And so we don't take those steps until we feel like everything's aligned. And most of the time, it's not going to be.
I rarely.
Say
Yeah.
99% of the time, it's not going to be. And that's the point, is to take that move towards your alignment, towards your fulfillment, without feeling like you're in control of everything, without feeling like you have it all planned out. Because part of that is trust. Part of
Yeah.
that is trusting that you're on the right path. It's going to work out for you. You believe in yourself. You believe in creator, universe, the energetics, right? And it's not being so set in the control of it has to look like this. It's, I'm going to make this leap, and this is an adventure, and I'm going to grow through this. So,
Absolutely. And that we often want to sit and have all the details figured out. And in reality, the right details unfold themselves through your action.
yes.
So I could sit here with a notebook and try and predict how everything's going to go, but until I actually start doing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I gather the information I need, I meet the right people, I start to actually feel it and be in the energy of it.
Yeah.
You know, I can't predict everything, but
No.
I can take one next step, and that creates momentum. And then
Yeah.
that momentum presents clarity for the things that you need to know next. And
Yeah.
so if you want to think of it like a trust fall, if you want to think of it like just
Mm-hmm.
going, trusting
Mm-hmm.
the universe, whatever that is for you,
Yeah.
just know that, you will be rewarded as you continue to move towards the thing that's really meant for you. Everything that you
Yeah.
need to know and every person that you need to know will present itself in the exact time that you need it.
I love that. And what's crazy is I feel like my life is just a series of crazy dominoes that I would never have been able to plan out. And when I look back at how all of those dominoes connect, I randomly went to one event that I didn't want to go to. I met this one person who led me to this event, and where I met this person. And when you add it all up, you would never be able to plan all that out.
Yeah.
And it's trusting that you're exactly where you're meant to be. You're meeting the exact people you're meant to, and those opportunities are going to come to you. But I feel like it's also opening up your life to those opportunities, because so many of us live in the same day to day, the same sequence of events every single day. We wake up at the same time, we see the same people, we go to the same job, we eat at the same place, and then we go home and we do the same thing every day. And so I feel like a lot of opportunities and resources come up when we are able to change it up, when we're able to try something new, meet new people, go have a new experience. Do you have experiences with that? Do you recommend that to your clients, kind of trying new things and shit?
Absolutely. I mean, we are creatures of habit, and especially
Yeah.
post COVID. I mean, I don't know about you, but I definitely formed some habits that are
Yeah.
very much in my house.
Yeah.
I've become a homebody, very much so.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
going to networking events, or putting yourself in a different situation, or having to put on pants with buttons. I mean, there's just a lot of reasons why I don't really want to leave my house. It's comfortable. Everything that I want and need is here. All of my snacks are here. I don't even have to have on pants if I don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
I also know that if we keep doing the same thing, we get the same results, right? I don't remember
Mm-hmm.
what
Yeah.
famous awesome person quoted that, but they did. And it's true. And, it might not be leaving the house, but it might be doing something different online. It might be creating
Yeah.
content differently. It might be reaching out to people differently. It might be having, sparking conversations,
Hmm.
reaching back out to past people that you've worked, just getting out of like your
Yeah.
routine
Hmm.
to
Yeah.
to to ignite something. Like we're in this
Yes.
like low simmer all the time, and it's like if you
Hmm.
want something to move, we have to ignite something, and that means that we've
Yes.
got to get out of our comfort zone and what we've gotten used to go get it. Because otherwise, that shit's not just going to land in our lap unless you've already done the work and planted the seeds,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? And very
Yeah.
much it could fall in your lap, but it's because
Yeah.
you've done that work in a previous time.
Yeah. How do you feel like our feminine energetics play into the igniting of that? Like, how do you feel when we're able to tap into our feminine, our sensual energy? How do you feel that kind of changes our energy, what we're doing, how we show up in the world?
Yeah, I think feminine energy is so cool because we often look at it as soft and flowing and openness, and that absolutely is a variation of it. But I
Yeah.
also think that it's like, I don't know, when you're just like in your shit, you know what I mean? Like when you're like really in line with
Like,
something and you're
it's
you're
fire.
hype. It
Yeah.
is. You're like
Yeah.
hyped up, you're
Mhm.
like hyper focused.
Yeah.
You like nothing could talk you out of this. I think that
Yeah.
that's feminine energy too, right? Like
Mhm.
that's us harnessing our inner flame, our inner
Yes.
ignition. And I think that when you follow that and you produce through that, my
Yes.
God, the magic that can happen when you trust
Yeah.
that and work with it, like that energy, that is money, my friend.
It is, and it's so magical. But that's the power of our sensual energy, especially as women. That creation energy, being able to create, and it's not just life. It's business, it's ideas, it's abundance, and bringing all of that. But it's not always through like a soft, flowy energy. It's fiery, it's passionate, it's knowing that this is what I'm doing, and I'm willing to put whatever I need into creating this. I feel like that's the phase I'm in right now, and I'm like, oh, let's
Yeah.
go.
Well, this kind of brings up a good topic, which could be interesting to talk about for a second. And it's, high achieving women often run in that space.
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
would consider myself a high achieving woman. I naturally burn a little hotter than most people,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I have a drive, I have a desire. I'm
Mm-hmm.
very clear about who I am and what I want, and I
Yes.
will do what it takes to get it. The
Mm-hmm.
difference now, though, is I
Yeah.
understand when to use that energy versus when to back off and rest. When
Mm.
when to nurture myself, when to take breaks, when to
Yes.
completely disconnect from things, right? Like when you start
Yes.
working with both parts of that energy,
Mm-hmm.
that's where things get really, really awesome and it works on your behalf. And now you're not burning out anymore because high achieving women can and will burn out,
Yes.
period.
Yes.
I don't care who you
Yeah.
are, you're going to go through that at least once, if
Yeah.
not 15 times, right? So when you learn to recognize like, hey, this is my fiery energy, I'm going all in, and
Mm-hmm.
then balance that and marry it with now it's
Yes.
time to rest. Now it's time to refuel. Now it's time to turn the computer off for the day. Like knowing your
Yeah.
own personal boundaries,
Yeah.
that's really kind of the secret sauce in my opinion.
That so is. And I am so, so glad you said that because that's huge. That's absolutely huge because we talk so much about feminine energy and everyone pictures it as the soft, flowy, but that doesn't mean that we're not out here doing badass shit. We're bosses, we're entrepreneurs, we're creating all of this stuff. So it's the balance of the feminine and the masculine and that fiery feminine energy, but it's also the rest. And the rest is huge. And being able to recognize that and not feeling guilty for it. I think
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing is not beating ourselves up about it, not feeling like we're not productive enough. Knowing that I will burn myself out. I will get incredibly drained and just being able to, like you said, put those boundaries up. I'm closing my computer for the night. I'm not going to be on my phone the rest of the evening. And knowing that you need that rest to continue the path that you're on. Like you need that rest to continue creating. So yeah, I think that's absolutely huge because we
Yeah.
all get in
Otherwise,
this mood of like we have to be productive and that's what my worth is based on and I need people to
yeah, I hear you. Listen, if we want it to be sustainable, it has to be sustainable. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
just that it's as simple as that. And I got to tell you, like, there's been many times that I've had to rewire my system where, like, to be able to rest, to be able to sit, to be
yeah,
able to disconnect, Like at first that feels very unsafe and actually ramps up the anxiety, like makes your brain get really noisy very quickly, right? So I've had to retrain my brain to know
Yeah.
that is a safe thing to do. And one of
Yeah.
the ways that I've done that is like receiving needs space.
Yeah.
If I'm
Yeah.
going to receive the fruits of all the labor that I just put out, it needs space to come in. So if I'm
Mm-hmm.
consistently fucking hammering it all the time, right? If I'm always going at it hard, if I'm always running and
Yeah.
pushing and grinding and all this stuff, like the things are going to be knocking on the window and I'm not going to hear anything because I got headphones on. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I have to be able to sit back and
Yes.
let the work that I just put out come back to me.
Yes.
Let me receive my efforts
Mhm.
back.
Yeah.
And when you really start to think about it from that place, I've actually really never talked about it like that. So this is kind of cool. Like that
Yeah.
starts to pull everything together because now you can see things, now you can hear things. Now that energy is attracted back to you because it has the space to come in.
Oh, that's such a beautiful way to view it. I have to say, I'm very big about being open to receiving, but I haven't considered those periods of rest as time to let everything come in, right? Let everything do its work. All the hard work you've been putting in, let that come back to you. That is huge. Like,
Yeah, I yeah, I get this visual of like, it would be like if you were climbing a mountain and
yeah.
you never stopped and turned around and looked at the view.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah.
I could climb the mountain and come back down the other side and never see a single thing.
And then it's saying you never saw the view, so you have to do it again.
Yep.
And you keep doing it again, and you never stop to look and you never see the view. And
Yeah.
then you just
And
keep
that
it.
and
You get
that's exhausting and unfulfilling and you burn out. Yeah. So this period of rest is your period of receiving. It's when you park your butt on the side of that cliff for a second
yeah.
and you turn around and you admire everything that you've just done.
Yeah.
You give
Yeah.
yourself the space to actually feel the air and look at the colors and receive whatever is coming to you. I mean, the
Yes.
plus ideas. You talked about creativity earlier.
Yeah.
I, ideas come in periods of rest. I mean, they can come in periods of doing too. Don't get me wrong, but like I don't know that
Yeah.
it just flows to you. I don't know about you, but like when I'm driving,
Oh, yeah.
idea machine, idea freaking machine. Like
Yeah.
I just voice note to my phone, and it's
Mm-hmm.
because yes, I'm doing something, but my mind is not occupied in a hundred
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
things. So
Yeah. No, you have that space to actually let that creative energy come in. Yeah. Mine is when I'm in the shower, when I'm in the water.
yeah,
Every single time. And I'm like, crap, I don't have my phone. I
we
need to
need.
make this note.
Has anybody created like a shower notepad? Because
Like a shower
that's
whiteboard or
that's like
something.
$1 million business in its own.
Oh, that's genius, though. I would be the first to buy it because I'm always like, shit, I need to remember this until the end of my shower. And then,
Exactly. I might have to coin that
yes,
one.
yes, yeah. I was going to ask, so what ways do you help yourself kind of get into that rest, into that receiving mode? What are some strategies, some modalities you use?
Yeah, I like to keep my stuff simple because if
Yeah.
it's not simple, I'm not going to do it. Honestly, like it's just keeping it real.
We're trying to rest,
Um,
do less. So,
exactly. Yes,
yeah.
that is the goal here. I honestly, the first one is I had to retrain my body. I mean,
Okay.
resting was scary and anxiety ridden and mind boggling. And I was like, that feels terrible. So why would I do it? I'm
Yeah.
way more clear and way less anxious when I'm just working.
Mm,
So this is kind of silly, but it really worked when I started to learn how to rest. So this is coming out of the agency into speaking and coaching full time. So the agency life was always on.
mhm.
One of the priorities that I knew that I wanted, and this might be the very first thing, is for everybody to know you have to get really very clear on what it is that you do want.
Mhm.
And one of
Yes.
the things that I really wanted and what I wanted to hold very sacred is white
Mhm.
space in my life.
Mm,
I don't want to fill every crack.
yeah.
I don't want to be booked out 8 hours a day. Like
Yeah.
that's just not the life for me. So
Mhm.
if I know that, I can start making decisions that support it instead of going
Yeah.
against it. So
Mm,
everybody take that and use that first and foremost. Well, I started to get white space, and guess what? That's really fucking uncomfortable because I've never had that before.
yeah.
So I'm like, okay, knowing that this is happening, I feel like I need a transition
Mhm.
activity.
Yeah.
So I went to the art store and I bought a cross stitch kit. I don't know if you've ever done cross stitching, like
Yeah,
with
yeah,
the thread, the needles and stuff.
yeah,
And I would sit down and I would cross stitch because I'm a creative person by
yeah,
nature. So I like to do something with my hands. But
yeah.
it
Okay.
started to train my body that, like, hey, sitting down is okay. But it
Mm,
helped my mind stay occupied enough that I didn't spiral. And I
yes.
and I
Yeah,
used that for months. It took me
yeah,
months
yeah,
to really start to unravel that. And eventually I got to the point I don't couldn't tell you the last time I touched the cross stitching. Because
yeah.
now most of the time, I'm very comfortable being still.
Mm,
It's not 100%, but that little activity helped me to kind of transition and teach my
mm.
body that resting is safe and okay.
That was such a self-aware process of you. Like that was very, very intuitive to know that because most people just go into it and they're like, well, I'm just going to rest and I'm going to sit here and now I'm resting. Now I'm going to turn on the TV and now I'm just going to mindlessly scroll. And now I feel unproductive, So knowing that you needed something to transition yourself and to show your body like this is safe and using that movement, still using that movement with your body, like your hands are busy, right? And it's something that you were still somewhat thinking about, but it gave your body that time to relax. That was so, so self-aware. So that's awesome. Congrats on that. Yeah.
Yeah, it just came to me one day. I was like, I need to
Yeah.
keep my mind occupied, but I don't want to do something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to do busy work. I just need to not sit here and think about how everything is scary and terrible. You know? So yeah, it's, I would say just follow your body. Is there something that you can do that's creative?
Mm-hmm.
Some people like to knit, some people like to color, some people like to read. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't have to create something. Just what
Yeah.
is a transitional activity that can help you start to build safety in your body in the stillness?
Yeah. Yeah. Instantly, when you said you went to the art store, I was like, ooh, I would love to paint. Right. So in
Yeah.
my I was already thinking of the activities that I would use. And then the reading for sure. Like I like to dive into like vampire werewolf fantasies, smutty romance. Like that's my
Absolutely. As one does.
yes, that's my break from business and reality, and it's it's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's probably the one of the biggest things. The other thing, it's very simple, but it works very well for me. I just gotta be outside sometimes. Actually, like
Yeah.
regularly. Like the air
Yeah.
condition feels fantastic, but I need to touch the earth.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
need to be outside, and sometimes I'll drink my coffee out back. Sometimes
Mm,
I'll just midday, I'm like, oh, I've been at it for a while, or I'm starting
yeah.
to feel kind of foggy. I'm starting to feel a little bit like disconnected, and I'm like, I need to take a break. We
Yeah.
built a business for a reason to have freedom and flexibility. Go walk yourself
Yes.
outside, right? Let's remind
Yes.
ourselves, friends and family, you didn't build a business for it to run you. You built a
Yes.
business for you to run it. So
Yes.
that
Wow.
requires getting up out of your chair and
Yes.
going and doing something else. And for me, going outside,
Mhm.
sitting out there, being out there,
Yeah.
um, sometimes just 5 minutes, right? And my creativity is locked back in. I'm clear
Mhm.
minded again. I feel like a human person again.
Yeah.
It's just so simple. And that's why I said, like, the things that I do have to be simple because
Yeah.
otherwise I won't do them. So
Mhm.
you got to
Mhm.
find these little things that work for you
Yeah.
and do them. And I feel very compelled to say right now that whatever works for you is yours.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be complicated. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be big. It doesn't need to be a
Yeah.
10-step thing. You don't have to buy something special, right? I feel like that, like, everything's flashy around us that we have to like go do something like extravagant. Like
Mhm.
I don't sit and meditate for a half an hour. My
Yeah.
brain is like, what are you doing? Find another fucking hobby, you
The
know?
chaos.
Yeah. So that doesn't work for me, but that might be perfect for somebody else.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my 5 minute outside thing is my meditation.
Yeah.
And it gets to be that. But I had to accept that, like, that's all it has to be. It doesn't have to be something extravagant. So I just felt like somebody needed to hear that.
Yes, yes. No, I love that. I feel like we make it very complex, right? We make it this whole huge process, and you have to have your tea and you have to have your journal, and then you have to have your color coordinated pens, and then we have to do this. Meditate for 10 minutes beforehand, and then you have to do yoga afterwards. And
And
it's
we
like,
wonder why we're not doing any of it.
We're
because
more stressed out about the planning for that. So then we end up just continuing to work instead of resting because resting
I
is
mean,
more work.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
What you said though, we are building our businesses for freedom.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know what? And I appreciate you said that because I needed to hear that too. I'm going on a trip for a few days. And so I was like, well, I could do content on the way there. And then while I'm at this coffee shop, I'm going to record. And I was like, stop, turn off the brain. I am creating this to give myself freedom so that I can have these experiences so that I can go and enjoy myself. And like,
Yes.
sure, I might record some content while I'm at it, but I don't need to plan it. I don't need to have this whole schedule in my mind of what this is going to look like. Like, I just need to let that flow. And so
Yes.
being open to that and not putting that pressure on myself of, well, I have a 4-hour drive, so I'm going to do all this. And no. I'm
No,
going to
maybe in
relax.
that maybe in that 4 hour drive you could look out the window and like see what's in
Yes.
the world, you know?
Yes.
But that's what I was talking about earlier, like filling every nook and cranny of time. We're
Yeah.
like, oh, I have 4 hours of downtime and I could hammer all these things out. And it's like you really have to be
Yeah.
conscious about
Mm-hmm.
saying no. And you're
Yes.
saying no to yourself, which I think is
Yes.
the hardest part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? You're literally catching yourself and choosing something different over
Mm-hmm.
and over again. And
Yeah.
it's rarely perfect,
Yeah.
but it's it's opening up this flexibility and the creativity and releasing the expectation that you have to create and
Yes.
knowing that, hey, while I'm out, if I want to snap some photos or if I feel like recording something, I get to because it feels good,
Yeah.
not because I have an agenda. Not because I
Yes.
feel like I have, not because I feel like I have to. And
Yes.
then, and then knowing that just because you record it in that moment doesn't mean it needs posted in that moment,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Like, oh, great. You took 4 videos while you were on your vacation. Guess what? You have a content bank.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yay.
Mm-hmm.
We
Yes.
love banked content because that makes our life easier later on,
Yes.
right? So it's like being in the moment,
Mm-hmm.
creating when it feels good, but then not
Yes.
feeling the pressure to do something with it then.
Yes. Doing it because it feels good, not because you have an agenda. 100%. And
Boom.
that is peak feminine energy too. Going with the flow of it, doing it because it's fun, it's joyful, you're passionate about it, not because you're stuck in the logic or the structure or, like you said, the expectations. I have 4 hours, I have to be productive. No, we could actually just rest and enjoy our time and live in creativity and be outside. And if something comes to us, it does, you know?
Yep.
Yes. And that's when we get the best ideas and the best content anyways.
Oh, absolutely.
It's
Because it
the most
just
natural. It's the most, yeah.
you're locked in. You're receiving. Hello.
Yeah.
That's bring that full circle. You're in an open space to
Yes.
receive. And guess what? That's when the lightning strike ideas come to you.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I feel like there were so many juicy nuggets already. And you know what? All of this was completely aligned because I was supposed to hear that from you before my trip. So thank you. Thank you for imparting that with me.
You got it. What I'm here for.
And like that's another thing. We've gone through these huge personal development journeys, right? The spiritual journeys, all of the mindset work, the inner work, and we still need those reminders because there is still the day-to-day pressure. We are still building a business, like our life depends upon that, right? Making a living depends upon that, but it's we take in so much of that information every day, but half the time it's not even sticking. Half the time we're still, buying into the societal pressures, the subconscious programming. Those things are still there. And so even when it looks like we have everything figured out and it's this perfect life, there's still so much that we're working through on the day to day. Like I
Absolutely.
still needed a reminder just to be present and enjoy myself. And I don't have to have my business brain 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, we're all figuring something out,
Yes.
and we all need and can use the reminders from time to time because old ways love to
Yeah.
creep back in. It's not
Yes.
intentional. You weren't
Yeah.
like, you know what I'm going to do? Sabotage myself on my vacation. Like you weren't consciously like, guess what I'm going to do, guys? I'm going to eat up all of my time. No, it's an old habit that
Yeah.
still lives in your brain
Mm-hmm.
You've done a ton of beautiful work to break that habit, but it's not 100% gone. There's
Yeah.
still remnants of it in there. So it
Yeah.
pops back up. That's why some people are like, oh, I've done all this work. Like, what's wrong with me? Why am I doing this again? I stopped that so many years ago.
Yeah.
Because A, you're a human, and
Mm-hmm.
B, those things don't 100% go away. They're part of your experience, which means your brain has information with it. And
Yeah.
sometimes it likes to go back into the archives and use it. So there's nothing wrong with you if you go back to an old way. Now you're just way better equipped to be able to make a decision
Yes.
faster and with more ease.
Yeah. And being able to recognize it. Oh, that's an old thought pattern. That's something that's not serving me anymore. I'm going to choose something
Yeah,
else. Yeah.
exactly.
I feel like that kind of ties into something that's been popping into my brain a lot this week is as we go through this personal development journey and as we are evolving into this new person, but we're constantly evolving. It's those thought patterns, but it's also those people that we had in our life that expect us to still be the same, right? And so it's those relationships that change, it's the dynamics that change, and kind of navigating that while we're still being authentic to ourselves. And I
Yeah.
feel like that can be a big, big struggle as we are developing, as we're evolving, as we're growing. So, can you talk a little bit about that through your journey? Because you quit your job at 6.5 months pregnant. And so you have this identity of, was that your first pregnancy? Like, I don't know how many kiddos you have, or,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep.
Okay.
First and only.
Okay. So your experience of becoming a mom, right, at that time, and then quitting your job and the expectations of what you were supposed to do versus what you ended up doing, like, how did you work through the expectations of other people while being authentic to you?
I think that's the $1 million question because
Yeah.
I tell you what, I work with women every single day. And one of the absolutely top
Mhm.
reasons why they hesitate or hold back or don't move forward is other people.
It's always other people.
Always other
Always.
people. My gosh. And it's like, there's a lot wrapped up in that, right? That could be an episode of its own, but
Mm-hmm.
it's the expectations of others. I don't want to let people down. How's my decision going to affect them? Are they going to out me, right? Or am I going to be on my own? There's a lot
Yeah.
of worry and concern, and rightfully so, right? I mean, we're humans and we want to be loved and accepted. And
Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes big changes shake that box up a little bit.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know, I I I unintentionally built my first business on the backbone of my insecurities.
Interesting.
And
Interesting.
one of those was deeply, deeply seated people pleasing to avoid being abandoned.
Mm. Ah.
So So
Yeah.
I did everything that everyone wanted me to do. I was a yes woman. I never wanted to
Mm.
upset anybody. I took on a lot of burdens and challenges to not
Oh,
rock the boat. Like
I'm praying for you.
it got hard and it got nasty
Yeah.
for quite a while. And then it took me a long time to undo that stuff. And
Yeah.
I think I just got to this point where I'm like, I can no longer sacrifice myself to
Hmm.
make people stay that are
Hmm.
trying to leave. And
Yeah.
that was a
Yeah.
really deep process that I had to go through. I
Yeah.
worked with a therapist on abandonment.
Hmm.
Um,
And
because I'm
that's
like,
painful.
if they're, what's that?
That's painful. That work is very, very painful. Like that
Ugly.
is, it takes a
Yeah.
lot of courage to work through that because most of us push it aside and we just continue those patterns because it's so like deep and painful to face that.
Yeah.
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 Exactly. I one of the hardest pills that I had to swallow was in the task of not being abandoned by others,
Mhm.
I ended up abandoning myself.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
thing that I was most afraid of, I was doing to myself, and I was like,
Mhm.
"Bull, that is, I'm gonna have to sit with that for a while." But
Yeah.
I I couldn't continue to force people to stay that were intended to
Mhm.
go. Like
Yes.
when I'm okay with myself,
Yes.
I know that people are supposed to ebb and flow in and out of my life.
Mhm.
And I'm no longer like grasping onto things and holding
Yeah.
on to stuff and forcing people to stay and like, no, like holding my ground in a storm. And it's like, hey, if the storm's coming through, I got to let you blow through. If
Mm-hmm.
if you're meant to be here, you're going to root down with me. And if you're not, I
Yes.
wish you well. And
Yes.
I had to get to that place with myself. And that's a journey that each individual needs to go on. But
Yeah.
at the just surface level, it's like, why why do their opinions matter more than your deep happiness of yourself?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And knowing that like what you do is not going to be a fan favorite of everybody's.
Mhm.
That goes to anything
Never
that you're
please
doing.
everyone.
I mean, there's probably something you're doing right now that somebody in your life doesn't like. You might not even know about it. You know what I mean? Like you've
Yes.
got to start putting yourself first. And the people that
Yeah.
are supposed to be there will be there. And if people are going to have opinions, cool.
Yeah.
Like they're going to have opinions regardless of what you're doing.
Everyone has opinions, and you are never going to please everybody. Even if you were the most top people pleaser in the world, you would still never please anybody. And
Yep.
ultimately, you're just like you said, you're abandoning yourself.
Yep.
You are doing nothing for yourself. You're not living your dream. You're not in alignment. You don't feel fulfilled. You don't feel loved because you know that there are conditions related to that love. But when it's coming internally, so that is such a beautiful place when you can get to the point where I love myself. I love what I'm doing. I know I'm aligned in that. And everything is a season. And when you can see people and events and like parts of your life as a season that come and go, it's so freeing because you don't have that soul shaking like attachment to something, and you're not white knuckling it so hard. I can't lose this person. I can't lose this job, right? When you just know that everything is season, what's meant for you will be for you. Those people, like you said, that are meant to stay, they will root in, they will stay. If they root in during the storm, great. That's even that's even more powerful. But also, some things are meant to go. Like we're meant to let go of that. And that was beautiful for a season, the lessons learned, the growth. But not everything is forever. And so I think being able to let go of some of those ideas, and I mean, girl, that starts at age 6, age 7, when they tell us the Disney prince is going to come save us and, provide us the castle and all of this. That's not real life. And we need to center ourselves and prioritize ourselves and our needs and our energy, and then everything else will align. So I love you said
Exactly.
that. That's so beautiful. And like, I'm proud of you for going through all of that work and that journey because that's painful and that's hard. And so,
Thank
yeah, I'm very proud of you for that.
thank
I
you.
wish more women had the courage to step into that sooner rather than later, because I work with a lot of women who are doing that work later in life, and everything happens as it's meant to, right? But you kind of think about, man, if I would have learned this earlier on, if I would have learned how to prioritize myself earlier on in my life, I would have had much more happiness and fulfillment. And so that's why we're here, to impart these messages to other women so that they can hear this and think, are things in my life a season right now? And am I willing to let go of things that are no longer aligning? And especially the people that are no longer choosing us, the people that want to leave, we got to let that go. You got
That's
to let it go.
that's baggage. I mean, you're literally
Yeah.
carrying around,
Yes.
50-pound bags of wet sand every day. And if you've got
No,
3 or
it's
4 or
literally
10
like
people doing it,
sandbag drags. Yes.
seriously, and you wonder why things aren't working, you
Mm-hmm.
wonder why your business isn't growing, you wonder why
Mm-hmm.
your health is going down the tank. I mean, you
Yes.
really got to start looking at the whole picture, friend. It's not just
Yeah.
about trying to force those people to stay, but what effect are those people staying having on me?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's
Yeah.
a whole juicy discovery zone right there.
Yeah. The health is a huge one. The amount of women with autoimmune disorders is shocking. Shocking.
Yep.
Girl.
I'm in the club.
Ah,
I'm in the club. I developed Graves' disease, which is autoimmune of the
yeah.
thyroid.
Yeah.
And it developed when I was like really butting up against keeping the agency versus going all in on speaking. I was not using my voice. So if you want to get in energetics, because I really get nerdy on this kind of stuff.
Yes.
I was not fully using my voice. I was stifling my voice. I was minimizing my voice. I wasn't prioritizing using my voice, my gifts and abilities. And guess what? My body started to respond. I
Well,
eventually I eventually had created, manifested, had Graves' disease. My thyroid went off the fucking charts. Like I ended up in the ER one night thinking that I was dying. And
Oh
they're
my
running blood
God.
work and they're like, girl, you have Graves' disease. You're like one step away from being in a toxic situation. And I'm like, oh. So I got on medicine. I started to get it
Oh my
regulated.
gosh.
Yeah, scary shit.
Yeah.
I got on medicine. I started to get regulated. About similar time frame, I had decided to sell the agency. I started to speak more. I started to like really go in on that more.
Yeah.
And my body told me less medicine. Now,
Mm.
now I'm very sound and I'm very smart, and I never
Yes.
recommend just fucking coming off your medicine. Work with your doctors. Be smart about this, friends. Let's not
Yeah.
do some dumb shit here. You
Yes.
can't just stop thyroid medicine. You're going to cause a problem. But
Yeah.
so I reached out and I was like, I feel like I want to start lowering this. We'd been monitoring my numbers. They were okay.
Mhm.
So we started to like decrease the pills.
Yeah.
And over about a year and a half, we decreased. And eventually I got to the point where I'm off of it. I'm in remission. I have my
Wow.
autoimmune is completely in remission. I'm in on no thyroid medicine. And guess
Oh
what I
my
do for a
gosh.
living? I use my voice. So I can't make this shit up. Okay. When I have
That is
firsthand experience with it.
that is so powerful. And that was literally like everything that we are doing, our body is going to send us a signal of that. And so if you are not aligned, your body is going to let you know. If you are so drained and burnt out and exhausted, your body will cause you to stop. Like you
Yeah.
will come to a point where you are forced to stop. So, and
Yeah.
that's,
If you don't listen, she will make you listen
yes,
eventually.
yes. And how energetically aligned that it was the thyroid, right? Your throat. And it was because of speaking and using your voice. Oh my
Crazy,
God.
crazy, right? Like I can't make this shit up.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
still get my numbers monitored, right? I'm still smart about that. I still pay attention to those things. And knock
Yeah.
on wood, we're in the green.
Yeah.
Everything's functioning as it should.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're using your voice. You're aligned. You're in your
Yep.
fulfillment. You're in your passion. So your body's like, all right, we're good to go. We're all lined up. Happy.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's wild. I had no idea that you had experienced that and you had that. So that's really cool. Interesting, because I was like, I feel like bringing this up.
You know, the universe always guides us where we're supposed to go.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Were you into energetics and things like that before that experience?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So you were
Since I was,
already listening to your body and you were tuned in and you were like,
yeah.
eh. Okay. Okay.
Ever since I was a little girl, I've always been a
Oh.
little weird in the best of
Yeah.
ways. So energy work and you know, crystals and working with energy and all kinds of wonderful things like that.
Wow.
You know, I've just always used that. It's actually a big part of how I teach and speak.
Mhm.
Is just through channeling, tapping into
Yeah.
me, my higher self, the universe, whatever goodness is coming in.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I use and listen to that, and I have learned to trust my body. See,
Mhm.
one of the big reasons people don't move forward and not trusting themselves is also up
Yeah.
there.
Yes.
Not trusting themselves or their abilities to figure things out or to take that one next step. And I've just gotten
Yeah.
really good at listening to my body, getting to know my
Mm.
signs and cues. What are
Yeah.
my intuitive yeses? What are my intuitive nos?
Mm.
And then just trusting that, because I look back at my track record, I'm like, I can tell you every time I did not trust it, and I can tell you every time I did,
Mm.
because
Yeah.
it calculates. The
Yeah.
proof is on the paper.
Yeah. When you didn't trust it, what were you feeling and what was the outcome?
Yeah.
Like, do you know
So
now what that feels like?
yeah, I
Yeah.
so I like to call it intuitive bricks or butterflies. So
Oh.
intuitive bricks are your body's way of saying, no, please do not
Mhm.
do this, Hilary. This is
Yeah.
not for you. It tends to be lower in your body, heavier, kind of sinking, like something's not
Mm.
quite right, but you can't put your finger on it. Like it doesn't really make sense to explain it to anybody because there's nothing tangible, but like you
Yes.
just know not to, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's resistance, but not in the I'm scared way, more
Mhm.
of an
Mhm.
going to put your hand on a hot stove way and like you're pulling back
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah.
That's your body's way of saying no.
Mhm.
Red
Mhm.
light, turn around, go back. This is not for
Yes.
you. Whereas
Yeah.
a yes tends to be higher, lighter, fluttery, kind of like butterflies. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it can be nervous, right? So
Yeah.
you gotta watch that one.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an excited nervous. It's like I'm on a roller coaster. I feel like I'm
Yeah.
gonna puke, but I also really want to keep doing this kind of feeling.
Yeah.
That's your body's way of typically telling you, yes, keep going, green light.
Oh,
So,
like it's like
but
in high frequency, like, ooh.
yeah, like it's like, oh, I feel everything, but also I need to keep doing this. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
that's usually where a breakthrough is about to happen when you start feeling like that. Um,
Yes.
one of the times I did not listen to it, this was back in my agency days, was a manufacturer had reached out to us to do some branding. And they manufactured deer urine. I don't know anything about deer urine, by the way.
Okay.
It's for hunters, so they spritz it on
Okay.
themselves and the
Sure.
things around them to like attract deers in. I didn't
Yeah.
know that. That's not my world.
Yeah.
My body was like, no, don't do this. I had the bricks. I had the resistance,
Mm-hmm.
hesitation. I had every sign and signal. And you know what I did? Signed the contract, took
Mm-hmm.
on the client. And what ended up happening, I mean, we finished the project, but it was
Yeah.
painful. Like
Uh,
it took us way longer than it needed to.
yeah.
It ended up costing us money because we had to redo things so many times.
Oh.
There was no synergy. It affected my team that I had at the time. You know,
Yeah.
like it was not a good experience. And maybe
Yeah.
one of the worst parts was we blocked the capacity to bring in any new potential great aligned clients.
Yeah.
So here we are, like just fluttering through this mess that I had allowed.
Yeah.
And once that client was done, they moved out, the right next client came in and it was like
Mm-hmm.
magic. So that's one of the biggest things is when we don't trust ourselves, we unintentionally block what's meant for us because there's no
Yeah.
space for it.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
space for it to come in, much like the ideas that we were talking about earlier. So
Yeah.
that's just one way that I mean, there's probably 8,000 stories of the times that I have not listened to myself, but I listen to her very strongly now.
Yeah.
We go way back.
Yes, yeah. Well, and even in your journey, I mean, 17 years ago when you decided that you were going to quit your job and start a business, I mean, that was a very intuitive hit. That was a very intuitive decision because logic would say not to do that at that point, right? In a huge
Yeah,
transition point in your life. Everything logical would say, no, that's scary. I'm not doing that. So I figured you had to be pretty intuitive and energetically aligned to make that decision then. And then it's just bloomed into all of these beautiful, decisions and growth and evolution after that. So,
for
dear
sure.
urine
Oh my
girl.
gosh, it was like it's probably one of my favorite stories to tell because I'm like it's so ridiculous to say out loud. You know, even like yes, starting the business was an intuitive yes, but even like one of the first decisions I made after starting that business was to join this networking group where every week we got together and we had to go around the table and like stand up and talk. The
Mm-hmm.
first time I stood up, like my knees literally shook. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
the redness just climbed up my neck like a turtleneck.
Yeah.
You know, it was
Yeah.
nerve-wracking. But it was that group where I was forced to start
Mm-hmm.
speaking. I was
Yes.
forced to start exercising and growing my
Yes.
voice. It was
Yeah.
in that group where somebody once went around the table and was like, there's something about you, Laura. I don't know what it is. This aura, this Laura aura. And I was like, blink. I don't know what that is,
Wow.
but it's something. And I put it in my
Wow.
back pocket for a decade until I started speaking full time and going really into things. Then I'm like, Laura Aura is the
Wow.
embodiment of all parts of me. This is my brand. So that
Love.
intuitive decision to join that group helped me build my
Yeah.
voice, helped me get over those initial fears, and helped me find my brand name and my purpose. I mean,
Yes.
that
Yes. Oh
being
my
in the
God.
right place at the right time comes from trusting yourself to be there in the first place.
Yes. Even when it was uncomfortable, even when it was nervous, even when speaking in front of people was a fear of yours, right? And your whole
Oh,
body.
every week I'm like, why am I here? What am I doing? I want to puke
Like,
and pass out and throw up all at the same time. Like
yes.
I might actually shit myself this Thursday morning, you know? But there was something in me that was like, you got to keep doing this. You got to
Yes.
keep doing this. Then eventually, like I was in that group for 6 or 7 years. Eventually, I was the
Wow.
president of that chapter and I spoke and I led the group every single morning. And these are all people that are a lot older than me, right? At the time, I was 22.
Yeah.
When I was leading the group, I was maybe 26. All
Mhm.
these people at the time are in their
Yeah.
40s, 50s, and 60s. I'm leading them now at this point, but none of that would have happened if I would have stopped going. There were
Yeah.
mornings, trust me, and that alarm went off. I'm like, do I really want to go feel terrified again today? And it's like, get up and go. It's time to
And
go.
now you speak for a living.
Literally.
And it is what you are most aligned with. Your body even showed you need to speak.
It was like, thank you. I've just been trying to tell you that for like 20 fucking years, but better late than never.
She'll figure it out. We're in it.
All in the right time. All in the right time.
But I want to talk about like the discipline that you had for yourself and the perseverance to do that, because a lot of times when something's uncomfortable, when we have fear about it, we're like, well, we like to tell ourselves that that's our intuition telling us no, right? Because that's kind of an easy way to get out of that and to not confront that fear. But there are skills and experiences and things that you need to do in life that are going to make you uncomfortable. And they might make you nervous as hell. You might even feel like you are going to shit your pants.
Yeah.
But it's needed for your growth and your development, and the fact that you kept pushing yourself to go and you're like, this is valuable. I need this. I'm going to go, even when it literally scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
And now you're a speaker for a living. And it
Yeah.
is so aligned. And you are helping so many people, especially women, also live their purpose. Like, girl, that's incredible. How freaking cool.
It's a full circle moment. It's sometimes a pinch me moment, and then I also have to like look back at all the variations of me and thank every one of them.
Yes.
Because every one of them was doing the best that she could in the moment with what she had.
Yeah.
And she was learning and she was growing and she didn't have it all figured out. And a further along the line version of me is going to look back at me right now and thank me. You know what I mean? Like we're always growing and evolving. And I think just having that compassion with yourself and knowing that like, hey, if I messed up once, it doesn't mean it's all going down the tube.
Yeah.
If I didn't trust myself, I learned a lesson.
Yeah.
That's when you don't trust yourself, you will learn a lesson.
Yes.
You will gather information and you will get clarity for the next time because now you've got context.
And it's not the end of the world. I think a lot of us are so afraid to take those leaps and make those gutsy decisions because we feel like it is going to be the end of the world. Worst case, it's a lesson, and that's a positive thing. We learn from everything. And so that's so valuable. And I feel like that is so incredibly helpful for our listeners too, because you deserve to make those decisions for yourself. You deserve to be living in alignment and fulfillment and be gutsy. Yeah. Like go do the things that scare you. Go do the things that you're nervous about, because most likely those are going to be some of the very worthwhile things that are going to lead you to what your full alignment in 20 years.
Absolutely. I always tell my clients, my audience, anybody who comes into my world that the thing that you want the most is often behind the thing that you resist the most.
Yeah.
And if you're willing to lean in to get uncomfortable for a temporary period of time and to keep going, friend, you're going to unlock more than you can even wrap your face around.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Love. I was going to ask you one piece of advice that you would share, and I think that was literally the perfect piece of advice.
There it was. I read your mind.
Thank you so much for this beautiful conversation today, and I absolutely love your journey and through intuition and energetics and making decisions that were completely aligned with yourself. So I'm proud of you. Thank you for doing the work and for helping others. Go ahead and tell our audience how they can get in touch with you, where they can find you.
Yeah, if you want a little of me in your ear every day, the Gutsy podcast is a great place to start. It's a swift kick in the mental ass, followed by the best hug you'll ever have. We're making gutsy moves over here. LauraAura.com is the hub for all things me. So you can learn about my mastermind and my coaching programs, my community that I run for women over there. And I'm at that Laura Aura on all the social platforms.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. What a beautiful episode. I feel like I'm energized for the day now.
Yay!
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
enjoy my trip and not have a business agenda.
Yes. Yes. That's the way to do it, my friend.
Thank you all so much for joining us. And as always, share, save this episode, share it with anyone, especially women in your life who you feel would benefit from our message today. And I will see you all next week.